If your baby has a suspected HIE injury, is it okay for you to talk with the doctors and nurses and medical professionals about questions that you may have, specifically about the injury or the suspected injury, and as it pertains to how this may impact your baby moving into the future? The reason why I want to talk with you about this is because over the last couple of weeks, I've had an opportunity to talk with families who have requested birth injury or HIE investigations done because their baby has a suspected HIE injury or an HIE injury, and they have questions as to what caused it. But in my discussions with these families, what I have found is that for some people, they are hesitant to talk with the doctors and voice their concerns and their questions. And I want to tell you, just immediately that yes, you can voice your concerns. You should voice your concerns to the doctors and medical professionals and ask them any questions that you may have, specifically as it pertains to the type of injury that is suspected. And even if you have questions as to how this injury might manifest itself or how it may impact your baby into the future. And with that being said, I want to talk with you about 3 areas that you may want to speak with the doctors about if your baby has a suspected or has an HIE injury. Now, the doctors, they can tell you, whether these types of procedures are needed or not. They may have reasons as to why they're not going to do certain things, but it is okay to ask them questions. First of all, I would say that when you're talking to them, is there going to be an ultrasound done? Ultrasound technology or ultrasound scans are important because they can let the medical professionals, they can, let them know whether there's things like hemorrhaging that is present in regards to your child. They can, ultrasound technology can be used to help be able to determine, whether some of these things may have happened earlier in time or, there's a lot of things that ultrasound technology can do, especially within that 24-hour window of a suspected brain injury. Number 2, MRI. MRI technology is very helpful because MRI can even go into more detail. It can get into the pattern. If there's a injury pattern that's there, the MRI can pick up on things like that. And in addition to that, with these early MRI scans that are done, if you have subsequent MRIs that are done down the line, maybe 5 days out, 10 days out, or whenever, those subsequent scans can be used to compare those imaging then, or the results of those imaging, and you can compare those images to the earlier imaging that was done. So these are things that are important. They can be extremely important and helpful for medical professionals when a baby has a brain injury. And third and finally is going to be whether or not your baby is a candidate for hypothermia cooling. Hypothermia cooling is something that is being deployed a lot now when babies have, HIE injuries or suspected brain injuries, if there's seizure activity and all of these types of things. Hypothermia cooling is being used a lot. Now, I want to quickly say before I get out of here, hypothermia cooling is not a cure, so to speak, in regards to your baby. So if your baby has a brain injury, the hypothermia cooling is not going to cure. But what it can do is it can help slow the spread of the injury itself. And, there's other things that hypothermia cooling can do for a baby, but it's not a cure in that sense of the term. And when you talk with the doctors and the medical professionals, they can give you their opinions as to why these things should be done or why they may not need to be done. But the point of this video is that for families, it is imperative, if you have questions of these medical professionals in regards to what's going on with your child, it is okay to voice these concerns and to get answers and stay on them. If they're not giving you answers or if they're explaining it in ways that you can't understand, it's okay to say, look, I'm not understanding how you're explaining this. Can you explain it another way? Can you break it down even further for me? Because at the end of the day, remember, you have to look out for your child and for your family. If you have more questions, maybe you're watching this video today because your baby has suffered an HIE injury. And like I said earlier in the video, you have questions as to the cause of the injury. Was this something that medical malpractice caused? Or was this something that genetics or developmental issues caused? Regardless, if you have these types of questions, what I invite you to do is to get your cell phone and give me a call at the telephone number or the phone number down below. When you call and you speak with my office, make sure that you pick a date and a time to get on our calendar. And remember, it costs you absolutely nothing to talk with me initially about what's going on with your baby and your baby story. I want to also remind you that when you talk to my secretary, be sure to leave them a good email address, an address that you frequently check, because sometimes we have to get in contact with families through email. So it's good to have a good email address that you frequently check. One more thing before I get out of here. I practice law here in the state of Maryland. I know from time to time, I have individuals who will contact my office. They're in the United States, but they are not in Maryland. If that's you, just understand that we have to use what we call co-counsel or local counsel. In other words, an attorney in your state. And that's something that we can look to work to help you with. But I just want to make sure that you understand that co-counsel or local counsel aspect of things if you are not here in the state of Maryland. All right, that's going to be it for today's quick educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and I'm one of the childbirth injury and medical malpractice attorneys practicing law here in the state of Maryland at Boston Law Group, LLC. Talk with you next time. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.